Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to my review of the brand new Men in Black film, Men in Black International. The fourth film in the Men in Black franchise and the first film to not star Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, and we even have a new director on board, and it is F. Gary Gray. This film stars Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, Rebecca Ferguson, Rafe Spall, Emma Thompson, Liam Neeson. Pretty star-studded cast. And this is the further adventures of the MIB organisation. We have Agent H and Agent M, played by Chris Hemsworth, and Tessa Thompson. Now Tessa Thompson kind of takes up the role of Will Smith in the first one. She has a life-changing event when she's a girl, and she has a run-in with the Men in Black, which leads her onto this path where she becomes obsessed with them, and ultimately ends up being recruited by them. And she, straight from the off, gets teamed up with Chris Hemsworth character, Agent H, and they are sent... Well, it's quite hard to describe this story. They are basically sent initially to show this alien a good time, but it all goes terribly wrong. There's these two aliens from out of town come in, energy enhanced aliens. They are on the trail of this weapon of mass destruction, and Agent H and M are tasked with figuring out what's going on, tracking down this weapon, and blah blah blah. Right, so that's enough with the story here. The story isn't necessarily important. It's never really been important in any of the Men in Black films, really. They're not story driven films. What did I think of Men in Black International? Well, I've got to be honest, I was fairly disappointed with this film. I've kind of kept away from a lot of reviews for this and stuff, and I got a sense that this film was probably going to get a bit of blowback, a bit of negativity, just from some of the things leading up to it, some of the things I've been reading and watching and what have you. And I've got to say, if that's the case, and I think it probably will be, they're pretty much right with this film. It's a bit of a letdown, but that's not to say there aren't elements here that are fun, i.e. the chemistry and on-screen relationship between Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, which has already been established in the Marvel films. That is very, very apparent, that chemistry, and they work as an on-screen pairing. It works really well. In fact, I really enjoy Tessa Thompson's character, Agent M, arguably more than Chris Hemsworth Thor. I think Chris Hemsworth Thor was elements of Thor in there: arrogance, cocky, overconfident. It was kind of Thorish. The character he was portraying on screen here, just with a black suit on and black glasses and a neuralizer. Emma Thompson's not in this film anywhere near enough. She brightens up the film when she's in it. Liam Neeson is Liam Neeson. There's a couple of fun alien sidekicks that we've got here, and by that I specifically mean the character of Pawnee, played by Kumaj Najani. I actually found it quite funny. These films like run with alien sidekicks and stuff like that, and he was a breath of fresh air. I thought he was quite a fun little character, but I just wasn't engaged in this film. It didn't grab me. The plot, the story. Yes, there were some reasonably exciting sequences here, action sequences, fun action sequences. But it just felt like a string of scenes tied together to me, and this film was too similar to the other films. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are on the Men in Black franchise. Obviously the first one was absolutely brilliant, and you could argue they got progressively worse as they went on, Men in Black 2 and the Men in Black 3, and this one, it just feels, and it might sound silly to say this, it just feels like a bog standard Men in Black film. With a new director, new actors, you would have hoped they might have done something a little bit different with the franchise, freshened it up a little bit. But no, this film, it could have been exactly the same film with just Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. The characters didn't feel new, fresh, different. Neither did the story. The story was predictable. You will guess who the villains are in this film, i.e. there's a betrayal that goes on in this film, and you'll figure out fairly quickly who that is likely to be, and you won't be wrong. There are these, like I said, they mentioned these energy-based aliens that come down to Earth that have got their own agenda. Now, I really like the look of these aliens and the effects, but they were dull villains for the most part, and this series has suffered from that, apart from the first film, and it suffers again from it here. This film, you don't really have anyone to root for necessarily, even though the likeable characters, Agent M and Agent H. You don't feel the threat as much as you did certainly in the first Men in Black film, and it just felt like the same old thing thrown in the rinser and spat back out, and they've just refilmed, the same old Men in Black film. So I've got to be honest, I'm going to have to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. I was pretty disappointed with it. I'm not saying it's a bad film, because it's not a bad film. It's very, very watchable. If you take your kids to it and stuff, they'll have a good time with it, they'll enjoy it. It's well made, the effects are good, everybody, does the job well. It's a fun film, but I think fans of this franchise are not going to be inspired by this, because it's nothing new, it's nothing fresh. They don't give you anything new or fresh. It's just the same old thing, rinse and repeat kind of thing. So yeah, a little bit of a letdown, but it's watchable. It's probably the most complimentary thing I can say about it, and you won't feel as though you've wasted your money, I suppose, if you go and watch it. So yeah, that's my review for Men in Black International. I hope you enjoyed this review, and of course I will see you next time on Screen Stars.